Hello and welcome back to The Who Look, where today I'm doing something a little different. I opened Google Bard, which has now been renamed to Gemini, which is Google's AI, and asked it, can you write a Doctor Who story featuring Ncuti Gatwa against the monk? Just to see what it would come up with, and this is what it did. So, welcome to The Doctor and the Timejacker. With the original prompt, it started the story with Chapter 1, A TARDIS Out of Time. In the story, as expected, the Doctor is Ncuti Gatwa, but Google actually mentions him as the 14th Doctor rather than his actual 15th Doctor. His companion, on the other hand, is the 13th Doctor's very own Yaz. Either Google's version is set in the future, where Yaz will return, or Yaz never left in the first place in this version. As it continues, it mentions a cluttered interior of the TARDIS. This is a far shout of what we've seen the TARDIS actually looking like for 15th era, with it looking clean and tidy. Maybe the clutter that Google speaks of is actually the 600 issues of Doctor Who magazine scattered across the console room. With this story progressing, the duo is taken out of the TARDIS. It's revealed here that Yaz is the one who carries a sonic screwdriver. The Doctor shows off by showing his skills of knowing where exactly they are. When it comes to his clothing, Google mentions he's wearing a bow tie. Either they've got confused with Matt Smith's Doctor wearing a bow tie, or they just didn't know what he's going to be wearing at the time. Obviously, what we know about the upcoming series, he's going to be wearing a lot of different outfits, so him wearing something different that we've seen from the Christmas special isn't that big of a deal. The two are stopped in their tracks by a voice shouting and a group of men confronting them with swords and guns. It says the Doctor is using his reflexes to stop the men, while Yaz pulls out her sonic screwdriver and deflects the bullets with her. It also mentions the guards are materialising from thin air, which is likely how it would have been for Yaz and the Doctor to have turned up in their location as well, considering they were in the TARDIS before. The Doctor then notices a hidden door and pulls Yaz through. Even though he doesn't know where they're going to go, he takes the risk to get away from the men. They arrive in a large room with a massive machine seemingly powered up, and the reveal of the monk, another Time Lord, with them in the room. Chapter 2, The Temporal Heist. The Doctor and the monk begin a conversation, and the Doctor wants to learn what the monk is doing. The monk decides to tell the Doctor exactly what he's doing with the machine. Whilst the monk does this, the Doctor starts to realise that this is dangerous and he needs to put a stop to it, and in classic Doctor fashion, he comes up with a plan. The Doctor asks Yaz to be a distraction, and she doesn't even hesitate, pulling out her sonic and using it towards the monk. Whilst it's revealed that the Doctor still has his own sonic screwdriver, or at least potentially has a sonic unless he's using something else. With the phrase, "a burst of sonic energy," he scrambled the sequence. The distraction from Yaz was enough and the Doctor completed his task. With the monk powerless to stop him, the energy comes out of the machine, taking both the monk and the machine away from the room. Chapter 3, Temporal Echoes. Whilst Yaz was pleased with the result and the monk and the machine being gone, the Doctor was less pleased. I assume this is likely to do with the fact that the Doctor knows the monk's meddling has probably caused a bunch of consequences, which it then states that the machine has already caused lots of issues, saying that they need to go fix them. This is where Google actually ends the story, with 3 chapters, but I thought this wasn't enough, so I said, add more story. And that's exactly what Google did. This time it dropped the chapters and just continued the story as normal. It mentions the Doctor and Yaz being pulled through different eras, where they learn each time what was affected by the monk. At one point they end up with the King of France, Louis XIV. However, they discovered the monk's meddling had caused the monk to become the King's advisor. In Victorian London, they discovered that Jack the Ripper's crimes went on for much longer than they should have. This could be something to do with Vastra, as originally, Vastra supposedly stopped Jack the Ripper. The story continues with the Doctor and Yaz just going through different eras after the monk, one after another, discovering what he had done each time. Finally arriving at the final destination, they arrive at a Time Lord sanctuary, where the Doctor discovers a weapon that he can use to fix the monk's meddling. However, it needs a huge power source, a power source bigger than the TARDIS. Now, this is the first proper mention of the TARDIS in a while, so it's unclear if the Doctor has the TARDIS back by now, or they're just referencing that the power source needs to be so big that the TARDIS can't even be used. Yaz then comes up with an idea to use the people from the affected times to power the weapon, which actually appears to work, undoing all the damage the monk did, as well as the monk himself, although the Doctor expects to see him again. Now, this is the point that we know that the TARDIS is back again, but it's still unclear when they actually got it back. At least the story ends on a positive note, with the monk defeated, and the duo pleased that they managed to fix the timeline, and the story ends. But I wasn't happy there, so I asked one more time, add a cliffhanger. The story continues and the duo are happily flying the TARDIS through the vortex, when suddenly the TARDIS lands roughly instead of how it would usually materialise, causing the Doctor's smile to drop. The Doctor clearly realises something is wrong and goes to check outside the doors, revealing the planet they've arrived on. There were visible figures in the distance and they clearly weren't friendly looking. They knew of the TARDIS's arrival and the Doctor himself calling out to him, greeting him to the planet, which was Gallifrey. Yaz has experience herself with Gallifrey being on the planet with the 13th Doctor. However, Ncuti's Doctor clearly shook by this, knowing Gallifrey to be destroyed after what happened with the 13th Doctor's time with the Master. The creatures on Gallifrey revealed that they were the ones to rebuild Gallifrey, and now the Doctor had arrived, they had exactly what they needed. It's unclear if they needed a Doctor or if they needed a functional TARDIS. The story ends here with a to be continued with the Doctor stuck on Gallifrey. It says the Doctor is trapped in a nightmare reality, so take that as you want. And that's the story that Google AI created. What do you think of it as an actual Doctor Who story? Who do you think the creatures at the end of the story actually are? And would you like me to do more kind of videos like this in the future with Google AI to see what else it can come up with? I hope you enjoyed this type of video, and I know it's different from what I usually do, but I was intrigued and decided to make a video on it after I had a conversation with someone about Google AI. Now, if you want to join a Doctor Who community, don't forget to check out the Discord in the description below. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.